What is up, YouTube? Okay, so it's been exactly 1 year since I spiritually awakened. At the time, I considered it an ego death. I mean, the two are kind of interchangeable, but ego death is typically equated to, or is the catalyst for an ego death is typically like LSD or shrooms or some sort of psychedelic. And so I wouldn't say, I don't say ego death anymore, because a lot of people would always assume like, oh, like what did you take, or like what was the catalyst for that. And so now I say spiritual, or like a spiritual awakening, but I don't really talk about that much. It feels weird because now it's like very like integrated into who I am and my ideals and beliefs and the way I go about my day. Like it honestly feels like I was reborn. And before I talk about the spiritual awakening, I want to talk about my incomplete awakening. So this is a term that I just discovered the other day, and it's basically when you have a spiritual awakening, but you don't know how to act, and you like your ego dies, and like you have an ego death, but you become like useless / like harmless in a way. And it's not like harmless as in like you were a violent person and now you don't want to be violent, but it's more like you can't act on like worldly pleasures or like the physical reality anymore, and you pretty much, and the thing is that you can't, and you can't act at all. Like you can't even find a good way to act in the physical world, and so you just become like almost like nihilistic or very depressed. And that's how my first spiritual awakening went. So that was when I was 17 years old. I do think that these awakenings, I've had two. They've came at times when, not like stagnation, I would say, but when I was like unhealthy or I needed a change, I found that's when these they came about. I don't know if I'm gonna have another one, who knows. And I want to talk about like maintaining this enlightened feeling in a sec here. Give me a sec. Okay, to resume. But yeah, they came when I was like unhealthy or I just needed a change. And so when I was 17, the change that I was going through was realizing that maybe I don't want to go to university for engineering, and maybe I want to pursue the arts. And I was failing math class, and I wasn't going to the gym, and my diet was really bad, and my acne was terrible, like horrendous. Like my face was just so inflamed, and I hated it. And so this was like a very dark time for me, and that awakening came in during that dark time, and it only like put me further down, right? Like it only dragged me down. But through that dark time, I was able to make like a 30-minute long like video. Like I made this self-documentary on what it means to be alive, because I was at this time where I felt so nihilistic about everything. Like everything was meaningless. and I was useless, right? Like, I didn't know how to act. But the only thing I could act on, the only thing I could do was think, or like watch movies. And through that, I was like, you know what, why don't I create something, how I talk about that creation is like the only thing that gives me gratification. That when I'm feeling like I felt so useless in the world, but the only way I could feel useful was to create for myself. And then that's what I made the project about. And so anyways, when I was 17, I feel like I had a bit of an incomplete awakening, and I lost that enlightenment. I fell back into the physical world. And if you go back through my videos from 2023 onward, I've always been like a deep thinker, and I don't think I was like completely just delusional and obsessive with the material world. But I did fall into reality a little more than I should have. You know, whatever. That's how things go. But I would say the first awakening was incomplete. I don't think it was fully carried out. And the second awakening, one second. And so my second awakening, I believe that it completed, or it almost, so it revisited these things that I could never answer. All these things about death and existence and spirituality and how like the program or system society has set up, right? I couldn't answer those questions, and so I left it as that. I went back to my life and found a way to like almost ignore. It wasn't that I became ignorant, but I said like, I can't change this. Let me find a way to almost escape it. And I don't know if that was conscious or not. Like, I don't know if I was like, yo, I can't do anything about this. I'm going to escape it. I'm going to do my best to avoid it. I'm not going to try to change anything about this world that we live in. But either way, it faded. That awakening, that enlightened phase faded. But I feel like, you know, the one that I had last year, it came back to me, but it was like solidifying what I had previously discovered. But I don't know if it was way darker, but I found a way like to actually, like, I didn't find a way, but all these thoughts and ideas were way more prevalent, and they were potent. I can't describe it, but there was this call to action that there's like, I had to do it. Like, I had to do something. I had to act on something. I have to do something. It was this internal monologue. That's really the best way I can put it. Like, I never verbally said, I gotta be the one to do this thing. I gotta be the one to go out in this world and be that person. But it was like this feeling of it. It's the best way I can put it. And so, with this second awakening in, you know, last year, it's been a year since, and I've been able to not only maintain this awakened state, but I've been able to expand and go further, and I've been able to train my mind and use myself as a conduit to take these grand ideas and try to find a way to apply them to now, and apply them to the physical world and the environment I'm in, and find a way to become useful. Because I believe that my last awakening when I was 17 years old, I was 17 years old, was incomplete. And last year I completed the awakening. And now I've been on the journey. Now I believe I'm on the journey that I was always meant for. But last year I accepted the journey. But that acceptance was the hardest thing ever. I think when I was 17, it was the invitation. But now I've accepted it and I've embarked on it. But there will still be difficult times ahead. And I knew what those difficult times were. I didn't know physically, but I had that feeling, and I trust my gut, I trust my intuition, and so I intuitively knew last year that there were going to be dark times ahead, and that there's going to be hardships ahead, and I still know there's going to be hardships ahead of me to this day, right? And so I don't know what they're going to be exactly, but I know they're going to be difficult. But ultimately, I know it's my journey, called my Odyssey, that I have accepted to go on. And if I didn't accept that truth that was laid out for me last year, I have no clue where I'd be. I can't see it. But I feel a dark presence. I feel a life that would have been insufficient. I can't even think about it, but I've been awakened. I am awakened, and I will continue to be awakened. It's not even I am awakened, it's just I am not, I am myself. I will be. And, even today I'm looking at myself, and I'm walking around, and there's an echo in my voice, but there's no delay. I can't describe that. You just have to kind of know, but I'm speaking, and the words are, on par with my hearing, and everything is sound, everything is good. But I know that there is a internal being inside of me